Are you ready? Stand by.
Oh yeah, oh Buffy.
Are you ready? Stand by. Are you ready? Stand by. 449. Are you ready? Stand by.
All right, what is up, YouTube? Welcome to the Night Train Precision YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about why I choose the Sig P226 as my sidearm. So, I use this for duty applications, training students, competition shooting, recreational shooting. You see that in most of my videos. This is the pistol that I'm using most of the time. And I'm going to dive into why that is. But first, let's go over this P226. I've owned this one for about 3.5 years. This is a Sig P226 Legion model. It has been updated. I put an updated trigger in it. I've replaced many components in it because it's got about 15, 20,000, maybe even more. I wish I really knew the exact round count that was on this, but this has had thousands of rounds of 9mm through it. And it's been a great pistol. I have had some issues with it, but for the most part, extremely reliable, accurate, durable, all those great things. But is that the real reason why I use it? Well, I mean, it's one of them because it's reliable, accurate, durable, all those things. But there are, kind of two main reasons why I continue to gravitate towards the Sig P226. So let me jump into those. Diving into the first one, the Sig P229 was kind of the pistol that I don't want to say cut my teeth on, but I shot it quite a bit as I was younger. I shot a P229, which is just a smaller variant or version of the P226. And so it was kind of natural for me to gravitate towards the P226 because a lot of the controls and the operating mechanisms, things like that, were the same. Feel was the same. I was used to aiming it, all those things. So kind of made my training process shorter and easier, just gravitating towards that. So that was my first reason, right? Familiarity with the platform. Continuing from there, I really like the P226 for one specific reason that I love to drive home, and that is the fact that it is a double action single action pistol. So what is a double action single action pistol? A double action single action pistol is a pistol that can be fired. Pretend we just chambered a round. It is actually clear, so it's not going to go off, FYI. But a double action single action pistol, we've got a round chambered here with the hammer in the cock position. The trigger can be pulled. There's no safety or anything like that. The trigger can be pulled and the gun will go off in the single action position. And vice versa, if we have another round in the chamber here and we go ahead and we use the decocker to decock the hammer, we can still fire a round, this round that is in the chamber, by just pulling the trigger on this long, hard, I'm going to actually flip it around, on this long, hard trigger pull here, which would be the double action mode. And that is essentially pulling the hammer back and releasing the hammer all in one shot. And this was an extremely common operating system / trigger system for a combat pistol for an extremely long time. The Beretta M9 was this type of operation. It was in the U.S. Army service from the 80s all the way into like 2016 when it was replaced by the striker-fired M17 and M18 variants for the U.S. Marine Corps. This is a P320, which is a striker-fire pistol. And all these double-action, single-action pistols kind of throughout history have been slowly being phased out and done away with things like the striker-fired Smith & Wesson M&Ps, the Glocks, Springfields for law enforcement. So there's been all kinds of new modern striker fire pistols come to market that have kind of replaced a lot of these double action, single action pistols. And is that because the double action, single action pistols were less reliable, or the striker fire pistols were more reliable or better and this and that? Well, kind of yes and no. I mean, a striker fire pistol can be better, it can be worse. Same with, vice versa with a double action, single action pistol. The real reason actually might surprise a lot of people, but if you think about it, it actually makes sense. the real reason why double action, single action pistols have kind of been phased out for the most part for combat applications or duty applications is because they cost more to produce. Striker fire pistols are simpler, typically more modular. They just take less components, which makes them cheaper to manufacture. So it's cheaper to manufacture a good striker fired pistol than it is to manufacture even a mediocre double action, single action pistol. And that is why we've seen a lot of these striker fire pistols win contracts for departments and agencies and things like that, and militaries, because they're just cheaper. They're cheaper, simpler. Armors can fix them more easily and service them easier. So all of that adds to the bottom line of running a fighting force or some sort of duty force. And so that is the real reason why we've seen kind of the back doing away with of double action, single action pistols. So does that mean that double action, single action pistols are bad options? No. And in a lot of ways, I kind of argue that they're honestly better. And let me explain. I don't want to make anybody mad because I have tons of single action pistols. I have tons of striker fire pistols. I have tons of double action, single action pistols. But ultimately, my heart always lies with double action, single action pistols for one reason, and really one reason only. Well, I'll get two reasons. One of them is when they're in the single action mode, their trigger is just typically much better than a striker fire pistol. Now, there are some striker fire pistols that can rival a good, single action mode on a double action, single action. But for the most part, it's the double action, single action is going to take the cake. Number two is the double action, single action pistol is only going to fire when there is input from the operator or some external force. And so let me explain. There is a particular company right now that makes a particular, model of pistol that has allegations against it for discharging without pulling the trigger. Whether, it's sitting in the holster, sitting on the table, whatever, gun goes off without input from the operator. Whether those allegations are true or false, I'm not here to decide that. I have not seen any definitive evidence that it's true, but nonetheless, there are stories out there and there are allegations against that particular company, that particular model of pistol. But is this physically possible, barring safety mechanisms fail? So, yes, if safety mechanisms fail on a striker fire pistol, whether it's a Glock, whether it's a P320, whether it's a, MMP 2.0, whether it's, list goes on and on. All these striker fire pistols, even if they are, the strikers are only partially tensioned, like a Glock, they still have the potential, if safety mechanisms fail, the gun can go off by itself. That's just, it's physically possible. Is it extremely, extremely highly, lowest percentage you could possibly think of? Like, it's not going to happen. But is the possibility that it happens there? Yes. Can that happen with a double action, single action pistol? No. And ultimately, that's kind of why I like the double action, single action pistol. My peace of mind that knowing that the gun's only going to do what I tell it to do is why I love that double action, single action trigger pull. And which is why I gravitate towards the P226. There are options out there like the Beretta M9. There's CZs. There's all kinds of double action, single action pistols out there. And I really just picked this particular one because of the operating system and because I grew up shooting a 229. So I was already used to this platform. So it's not the greatest pistol in the world. There are flaws with the 226, and I'll be the first to point them out. It has the highest bore axis I've ever seen, which induces your felt recoil. There's all kinds of things with the P226 that I don't want to say necessarily can be improved, but there are other models of, pistols out there that accomplish the task better than the P226. But ultimately, I'm comfortable with it. I like the gun, and that's why I use it. I mean, not to scare anybody or anything like that. Too, the striker fire pistols, they're safe, they're reliable, they're cheap. They're great pistols at what they do too. So all of this being said, I really choose this for those reasons, but ultimately the most important thing to do is actually train with your pistol and use your pistol and be competent with your pistol. Ultimately, That's the most important thing out of anything else, barring any selection. I don't care if you have an MMP. I don't care. Training and being competent with your pistol is the most important thing, and being safe with it, storing it safely, carrying it in a holster that covers the trigger. All of those things all play into effect of the safety and usability of the pistol. So hopefully this video did you guys justice. I know I'm kind of rambling on here, so I'm going to just cut the video down from this point. So I hope you guys took something away from this. I hope you know that I'm just not this diehard SIG fan. Like, I do love all kinds of different variants of pistols. I own a bunch of SIGs. I also own Glocks, CZs, all the above. I love firearms in general, but I do gravitate towards the P226 for those reasons that I told you. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.